Yay! We are live, it says. Woohoo! Hello and good morning, everybody. We are here with Chips and Chat. I forgot my chips. Right over. Hold on. Let me get my chips.
Can't forget your chips.
All right. So on this very cold day here in Sierra Vista, we have a winter storm warning for those in the lovely Tucson area with the warmer weather who may not know. So today we're going to enjoy some hot chips while we also learn about Goodwill, why we're so awesome, how to get hired on with us potentially, and some tips for that.
Yeah.
So originally, Heather, you wanted to enjoy the spicier chips that were Cajun style. So how did you find those chips at all?
So I'm originally from Louisiana, and one of my favorite foods in the world is boiled crawfish. I love boiled crawfish.
Love
It's like
boiled
my
crawfish
favorite
too.
Oh, it's so good, and they're so spicy. I mean, it's got to be so good that it's dripping down your arms, and your nose is running, and that's the best. And so there's a company out of Louisiana called Zapp's, Zapps, and they make this chip called the spicy crawtator. And sounds very country, and it is, but they're kettle cooked and it's spicy and so good. And they don't sell them here, so I don't find them here. So, but that's what I wanted originally. But I went with the second best.
That makes sense. That's awesome. Okay, so the second best chip we have today are Kettle Brand jalapeno chips. So if you've had these,
Ooh,
they be
you got the
spicy, they be
fries.
hot. Yes.
And these are definitely a good second for sure.
New Orleans, tell me, how long have you been with Goodwill? How did you get started on the Goodwill journey?
I started with Goodwill in July of 16, so 4.5 years. And I came here. So when I first came to Arizona from Louisiana was 2015. And we just did it, man. Like I didn't have a job when I left. We just came out here and hoped for the best. And I actually got a job, my first interview at my first place. And they hired me as an HR manager for the company. They had never had HR before. So I walked into this new, what? I have to build HR from the ground up here. So that first year, and when I started with him, it was already temporary. We both knew that. It was an agreed upon thing. And so I came in, I completed all these projects for them, got them up and running. And then one day I saw a job listing for Goodwill HR, a generalist. And I was like, that sounds interesting. So I applied for it, but the posting had been up already for a month or two. And I was like, yeah, they probably already found their person, right? Not me, but I'm going to try anyway. So I sent my resume in, and the next thing I know, Isla calls me and she said, hey, I got your resume here. Well, not Isla, her manager at the time, Jennifer. And she told me, she goes, I really like your resume. I'd love to talk to you. Turns out they were just about to offer the job to someone else when they got my resume.
Oh my God.
So I was like that close to missing out. And they called me in, and like many people, I had no clue what Goodwill does for the community. I really didn't. I was completely clueless. And I sat in the interview with Isla and Jen, and they started telling me about the programs here, like the 6 adult programs and the 6 youth programs. And at the time it was 5 and 5. They were telling me about why, what the donations go to do, and what do we do for our community, and how do we give back, and who are we working with. And I walked out of the interview going, I want to work here. I really want to work here. This is where I think I'm meant to be, because it was all about, even though I was going to be in HR, so I wasn't going to be directly in a program, right? Directly affecting the community. It was if I can just have a little piece of creating the employees, creating the culture, creating the environment that will help to give back to the community, at least I could have a piece of that. And so I was so excited when they offered me the job. I was like, 100% yes. And most people would say, well, you went from a manager to a generalist. And I was like, but I went to Goodwill. And that's why I came here. It wasn't because of the title, it was because of what the
Yes.
company does. And so that was it, man. I was hooked from the interview.
That is excellent. So you brought up like a lot of good points in that story. So one was, even though a job's been posted for over 30 days, it doesn't mean that the company has already filled that position. Because it could mean they have
Sure.
more than one position that needs to be filled, or like you brought up, they're considering people, they've not made an offer or it hasn't been accepted. So always, if it's listed, call the company and find out. It's not a negative just because it's over 30 days. And then you
Yes.
mentioned Goodwill. You left a higher job as a manager to take something lower because you saw the potential with the
Yep.
company. And also you saw that I want to be in a good culture for a company. And that's like what Goodwill creates and offers to
Yes.
people. It gives you this
Yes.
culture, this family environment that you will enjoy coming to work. And
Oh,
it's
absolutely. And it's
so
so fun to
amazing.
actually say that. Like you get to say that every day. Like I love coming here. I love working with our employees. I love doing what we do. No day is ever the same. It's always crazy. It's always good. Yeah, I mean, but you're right. I mean, you bring up me taking a lower title, but the thing is that I've been promoted twice, right? I mean, I came in as a generalist. I was promoted to a manager. Now I'm a director, and so yeah, you get in somewhere where you said the culture's right, where they're doing the right things. It's a place you want to be, and nothing really can stop you. You can grow with these companies.
Right.
So,
And that's amazing. So Goodwill Southern Arizona Network is literally Casagrande and down because you have one in
mhm,
Nogales, right? And then
yep,
there is some in like a lot in Tucson. And then there's only donation centers that don't even have like a store component to them. And then Sierra
mhm,
Vista, you have one with a
yep,
job connection center. So we cover that southern portion there. And that's a big
yeah.
network. So there's tons of potential for people throughout to get employment. So what is the
Yeah.
best way to go about applying for a job with Goodwill?
So all of our jobs are on our website and they're updated. We literally update every Tuesday. So every Tuesday, what's on that website is exactly what we're looking for. And that's a nice tip. I tell people that all the time when people call in and say, hey, what can I do to apply? I say, hey, check it every Tuesday because you never know. Something could come up between now and next Tuesday and you got a new fresh opening. And so whether it be a corporate position or it is a programs position or it's a retail position, those things come up all the time. Things change. So check every Tuesday. It's goodwillsouthernaz.org. Goodwillsouthernaz.org. And then just go to careers and it'll say current openings, and that's where you go. And it goes directly to the place that you're applying. So if you're applying for a certain store, let's say, 22nd Street in Kolb, it's going to go to that store specifically. So that's a good thing. And that manager will get that application.
Nice. So that's good.
Yeah.
And it's also helpful that it's right there on the website. So you get to see all of them. So if you're located in a bigger area or if you're thinking, oh, I want to work in Sierra Vista, but what's available, it's going to show everything, not just,
Yeah.
retail stuff.
Yeah. And you can apply for multiple jobs too. You're not just limited to just applying for one. So if there are multiple jobs on our website that you're like, I want to apply for that and that, go for it. Please do.
So how does what is the process for the retail side of it?
So the retail, so you will put your application in. The managers are looking at those. Uh, we hope it's on a daily. It's probably every other day when they can actually get in there. I mean, things depending
Mhm.
on what's going on in the store. But the managers get in there and they start reviewing those. What they typically will do is they'll place a phone call to a person that they look interested in, somebody who spent time to answer the questions, because our application is a little bit different than most companies. One of the first things we start with is, why do you want to work at Goodwill? That's one of the first questions on the application. Because we want to know your why. Your why is important to us. Is it just for a paycheck, or is it because you want to affect the community in a positive way? Is it because you want to be a part of an organization that does good things? What is your reason? So we ask that as one of our first questions. Another one is we actually direct you back to the website to review our core values. And we say, hey, go read our 10 core values and then tell me what is the most, which one affected you the most when you read it and why. And again, that's because that's our culture. Our values drive everything we do at Goodwill, from start to stop. And so we need you to know that right when you're coming in that door, right when you're putting in that application, like this is how they operate. And I need to see, do I align with those values? Do I align with that? And this is this place that I really want to be. I think that's really important. And so those are you'll start there and you'll do your application answering questions like that. And then when the managers read your answers, if they see, I just want a paycheck, they might not pick you because they want a little bit more than that. We want to give you a paycheck. We want to give you 40 hours a week. We want to give you the benefits. We want to do all of that. But we need you to come for the right reasons and be here for the right reasons. And so if they like what they see on your application, they'll give you a call, screen you, talk to you, maybe ask a few more questions. And if they like, your personality over the phone, because that's important. And the way you talk, how you handle yourself, do you show any enthusiasm on the phone? Or are you saying, yeah, like you don't really care if you have this job or not? Those are important things. And so the managers are listening for that. And then if they like what they hear and you're answering these questions and you answer the application well, then you'll come in for an interview. And they'll do a face-to-face interview. Are you demonstrating the same level of enthusiasm that you did on the phone? Did you come on time? That's important. Were you dressed appropriately? That's important too. We don't ask for you to come in a suit and tie, but you need to look a little bit like you're ready for this work, right? That you want to be here. Did you answer our questions properly? And again, we go back to the why. Is this person going to add to our company by being a part of it and living our values day in and day out? And so once that interview takes place, then the manager makes a decision. So HR, we don't even make the hiring decisions. We find out from the managers who they want to hire. And that's important because I don't know what's best for Sierra Vista because I'm not in Sierra Vista all day, every day like the managers are, right? They know who they need on their team. They know who's going to fit right and well into that culture. They know what they're looking for way better than I could sitting here in my office. And so I think that's also really important to know is that it's coming from that local area. The decisions are coming from that area. Yeah.
I like that. That is incredible. That is so good to know that like the managers have control over their own stores, their centers, so that way they hire, like you said, who's needed, who's meant to be a good fit for who's there to work with everybody.
Yeah. And are they going to mesh well with the team? Because that's also important, right? I mean, everybody's got their own personalities. Everybody's got their own things, what they bring to the table, their strengths, what's their opportunities. Yeah. And so when the managers are vetting who's going to come in next, they want to know, does this person fit with this team? Because if it's going to be a bad fit from the start, then they're not going to do it, right? They want to make sure that this person can get along with everybody, work as a team, and accomplish the goals, because that's what they're all there for.
Yes, I love that. That's so cool. And so you mentioned that all the jobs you apply for online. So is it the same portal if they were applying to be a job connection specialist or to work at the corporate office or an IT department?
Yes, all jobs are listed. And it's kind of broken down by that. It'll say like professional positions. It'll say retail. It'll say, I'm trying to think of the other words they might use. But yeah, so it's kind of broken down by the division or the area in which that job it lives in. So is it administrative, professional? Is it retail? Is it transportation? And those kind of things. So yeah, but it's all on that same page.
That's great. What's on the application? You mentioned that we talk about our values, we talk about why you want to be there, all that good stuff. What other information is kind of in a sense required or really suggested to help the application look good too?
Sure. So obviously we have to ask some of the standard things like, are you at least 18? Are you legally eligible to work in the United States? Those are important, right? So we have to ask those. But some of the other things we ask are, and this is something new too, is, when it comes to technical skills, working with an app on a phone, on the internet, on a computer, how are your digital technology skills? And we ask you to rate yourself. Like, I don't have any skills whatsoever. I'm terrible with computers, or I'm really good with computers, or I'm kind of in the middle. I could do better, but I could also do worse. So we let pick folks rate themselves on that, because to us that's important. And the reason why it's important is because we use ADP as our system of communicating with our employees. That's where they get to see their time cards, their time off balances. They can do all these things, and they get to see our policies and everything in there. So they have to be able to access it, right? So we want them to know, can you at least access this? You don't have to be a genius. We don't need you to do any coding for us, unless you're applying for an IT position. But other than that, we don't need that. So that's another one we ask. We also ask, a couple other open-ended questions, such as like, what do you think your greatest skills are that you're bringing to our table? What are you thinking that we want to know about you that would say, this sets this person apart? This person, we need to look into them. What differentiates you from everybody else filling out an application? And so I think that's also another cool question, because, and I've seen some awesome answers. Man, there's sometimes people just put some fantastic answers in these. And when you see them, and it really does correlate to the work they produce, because how they answer these questions on there and how they come to work, very similar.
Wow.
It is, because if you take the time to really think about these questions and really answer them, that shows me that it matters to you. It matters to you to put your best foot forward, to take the time to think about it, to actually answer the questions realistically and real and honestly, because that's how you're going to show up to work every day. You're going to come to work putting in your best effort. You're going to come to work being honest. You're going to come to work with integrity, because that's how you showed me in your application. And usually, I mean, it's a pretty clear indicator. If they put, I just want a paycheck, I don't really care about this, I don't, whatever on their application, we've seen that too. That's how they show up to work. And so it really does help us, I think, get a better picture of this person by just asking some very simple questions. Those are not difficult questions. We don't even ask them anymore, like, tell me your last employer, tell me this, because why? Why do I need to know your last employer? Right. Is that really a necessity? Because if you're coming to work in my retail store, I just want to know that you can give good customer service. I want to know that you care about being here, that you're going to live our values, and that you're going to try your best. That's what we want to know. So, who are you as a person? That's who we're bringing in, we're bringing in the person.
And I think that's cool that you bring that up, because I know, and you mentioned like for your last employer, Goodwill's really good about it. This can be your first job too. So that's why they're not concerned about that. And then they also offer a lot of training. Like they want you to learn, so you're also safe on the job as well, especially in the retail side.
Yeah, there's so many opportunities as an employee here to be trained in a variety of different things. Safety is one of them, but I mean, we have a team in employee development who their whole job is to work with employees one-on-one. And what they work with them on is budgets, personal budgets. Maybe you want to buy a car this year. They'll sit with you and work out a budget and help you figure out how to save money to buy that car. Maybe you need to get into a new apartment this year, or you want to buy a house. Whatever that is, they're going to help you work through that. They're there to help in a crisis. Are you struggling? What's going on? What can we do? They help you with your taxes. They help you with, maybe you are here at Goodwill just for a short time, right? And maybe your real dream is to go do something else. We can help you get there. We want to help you get there. If that means you go to school, we want to support that. If that means that you need to gain some skills, we want to help support that. And so we have different trainings. Maybe it's on Excel, Microsoft Excel. Maybe it's training on, internet basics. Maybe it's training on whatever that might be. Our employee development wants to help with that. And so I think that we're a very unique employer, very unique. in that way, how much we give to our employees. I was just having a conversation this morning about retail in general, and we were talking about how, you know, most retail, like she was telling me about a person who's going to be starting in another week because they had to put in their 2 weeks where they're at. They're a manager at another retail department, and they're barely getting full time. They're barely getting full time. So, which means they're barely getting maybe 30 hours as a manager. And that's hard for folks. When you have bills to pay and rent and a car note and whatever else you've got in your life, and you're not even sure you're going to get 30 hours a week, much less 40. That's something that we've always prided ourselves in at Goodwill is, we give you 40 hours a week. That's your job, 40 hours. And on top of that 40 hours, we're going to be extra generous and give you a slew of benefits to have, to choose from. And then we're also going to give you a lot of time off because we believe in work-life balance. So I think there's a lot of unique characteristics to what we offer at Goodwill as opposed to other places. And again, if we're not your final stop, that's okay. We want to help you get to your next stop. So if we can help in any way, please come check us out.
That's something I definitely found really cool is that we live our mission statement. And so we want to help our employees, coworkers, live that mission statement as well, even if it means they're not going to be with us forever, but they're still going to remember the time and hopefully take those values they gained here to the other jobs that they get. And a lot of people coming to the Job Connection Center are shocked. And when I tell them, I'm like, oh, only apply if you're interested in full-time because we only have full-time available. And they're like, well, when's the part-time opening? I'm like, no, Goodwill only does full-time.
Right. Right.
It helps. Like you said, you need to pay for things in life. And so it helps give you that guarantee.
It does. It's that stability. It's a real stability for people, especially when you have a family. I mean, I know starting out early in my life, I was married early, I had kids early, and it was hard if there was no stability in the work. If there was no, do I get 20 hours this week or do I get 40? Do I get, that was hard to manage. And so we as a company, we want to help people not have to worry about that. We're going to give you the work. We have plenty of it. But we just need you to live our values. We need you to be here on time for every scheduled shift. We need you to have a great attitude while you're here. We want you, those things, right? It's pretty easy trade-off.
Right.
We don't ask much, but, I had somebody who resigned. It was a couple of years ago, and she was putting in her 2-week notice, and she called me and she was crying. And I was like, why are you crying? And she said, it's because of how much Goodwill has done for me. Because she had been here for many years, actually, at that point. And she's like, it's because of, I love this company and it's hard for me to leave. I'm scared to leave, but I'm also sad because I've grown into this family. I've learned so much. I've gained so many skills. I've done all these things that I wanted to do. And I said, yeah, but you're leaving for a better paying job in the area in which you want to be, where you've always wanted to be. She's like, I know. I'm going to miss it here and all this. And I said, you know what? Consider yourself an alumni. You graduated from Goodwill, and you're going out into the world with your new diploma, from Goodwill, all the training that you have behind you, and you're going to go in and do an amazing job. And she was like, oh, I never really thought of it that way. But just knowing like, hey, I graduated from this. I am an alumni. I said, you'll always be an alumni of Goodwill. And so I think that made her feel better when she left. But she was a great addition to the team. And but that also proves and shows that as an organization, if you want to go elsewhere and earn more, go into a field that you want to be in specifically, we want to help you get there any way we can.
That's awesome. So let's do a summary of the benefits here. So you apply online, have a resume. If not, then there's a profile you can create for that application. All the jobs for the Casa Grande, Tucson, Nogales, Sierra Vista, the whole southern region are going to be on the same website online. And there is going to be full-time only, plus
Mhm.
benefits, plus like
Plus
you
the
talked about, there's employee development to help you reach goals or budget or
yep.
whatever it is you're wanting to do, personal and professional. And what else? A family environment, a good
Yeah.
culture to come to. So
Yeah. Work with
great
some
stuff.
amazing people. Um, and I think everybody shares the mission and the vision of the company. I think we all are here. The ones that stick around for a little while, they're sure we could probably go make money somewhere else and go have another job, but it's not the same. It's a different culture where our CEOs are heavily involved from the top. They are out there. They're meeting everybody. They're talking to people. They're going to put up racks in the stores. They're and that's not normal for a lot of companies to have such an involvement from your CEOs and directors and all those levels down to the entry level. And so I think that also creates a different vibe and a great vibe for our employees when we can walk into a building and you've got directors and CEOs saying, "How you doing over there, Sarah? How's it going over there, Jacob? And they're like, "Wait, they remember me? Yeah, of course we do." And we've got 430-ish people right now, and um, we're still growing. Back pre-COVID, we had 530, so we're still working to get back up to there. Um, but we're just looking for the right people with the right attitudes and the right desires. That's all.
That's awesome. So if you want, touch a little bit on what are some of the current openings right now?
Sure. So retail is always hiring. We always need good people in retail, especially managers. We love to get a really good manager in our doors. We have awesome managers, but we need some more. So anything from like a supervisor level, assistant manager would be awesome to see some of that. Obviously, we're always looking for entry level people, and we love to grow from the inside. Meaning, I would rather hire an entry level, train them up, and promote them to a supervisor or an assistant manager or something like that versus hiring a manager off the street. Because they learn the business and they know the business more than someone who's coming in off the street. So internal promotions are really important to us. We love growing our own people through the career ladders. We also have transportation jobs. So our drivers you do not have to have a CDL. I know there's a lot of question around that. We do have some positions that require a CDL, but not all of them. So we do have those who we just need somebody who can, pass a DOT drug screen and a DOT physical because all of our trucks are mandated by the Department of Transportation regulations. So we do need drug screen and a physical DOT. And then we also do a physical agility test because we want to make sure that the folks that we're hiring in a driving role, because it's not just driving, they're also handling materials. And so we want to make sure that they are physically capable of handling materials as well as driving. So we do have those positions available. You mentioned earlier, Angelica, you said the attended donation centers, because we have some of those around Tucson. These are facilities where we only accept donations. We do not sell from these facilities. So there's no sales happening there. It is typically one or two people there collecting donations from the general public. And they're taking them, they're sorting them out where they go. A driver will come up, they'll take the materials and they'll bring them elsewhere. And so that just kind of keeps that flowing. And it was really set up to be a convenience to the community so that they don't have to go look for a Goodwill. There's pretty much a Goodwill everywhere you turn that they can donate to or go shop at. So, but we are looking for ADCs, so attended donation center specialists. Those are folks that will work. I don't want to say secluded, but a lot of times they're going to be by themselves for a while, in that area, taking those donations, but they're always monitored. Somebody comes around all the time, so it's not like you're just stuck out in the middle of nowhere with anybody. But some people love working by themselves. They feel better and more productive when they work in versus a team environment. So we have those available. We do job coaches. Job coaches are always something that we are looking for. And a job coach is someone who works with our developmentally disabled individuals, our employees. So we do have a few of our stores and our new goods area that host group supported employment. And that group supported employment are individuals that may have some barriers, right? Some physical barriers or mental barriers. And they're working in these set positions where they do a set job, earning a paycheck, right? Just like anybody else. And so we have a job coach that actually works directly with those folks where they help time them on their tasks. They help them reach goals. They help them set goals. And it's really just a nice one-on-one coaching with those folks that might have some developmental disabilities. We're always looking for somebody that want to do that. Now, we have some great job coaches here. And again, we're always looking for anybody else who's called to that, right? Because I think it's a special person. It's a unique person who likes to work with those individuals. And those individuals are our favorites. Let me tell you, they are awesome. I just love walking into a store and, Gary's like, hey, they bring so much sunshine into the building. And anyway, so we're always looking for job coaches. Trying to think of what else. At the moment, not sure if we're looking for IT. I'm sorry, I don't have that off the top of my head, but I know those other ones are for sure what we're looking for. But a lot of our jobs, again, they change really fast. So it might not be something we're looking for today, but maybe by tomorrow we are. So I would recommend always checking the job board, our current openings, often.
Well, I know we are hiring for a job connection specialist at the Kolb location.
We sure are. You're right. Absolutely. And that's at Colburn 22nd here in Tucson.
Yeah. So that is definitely a good position to be in.
Colleague. Yeah.
And what else? These chips were awesome. I've never had these because I don't generally do spicy foods. And this was actually really, really good. So, I mean, if you're into spicy, I don't know if I could handle those New Orleans Cajun chips. But I'd be interested to try it because I do like the crawfish, So we'll see. Now, maybe one day I'll get brave enough and go try them. This is awesome. This has been great today. Learning more about Goodwill and positions we have open, how to get hired on with us, all the different departments, and a job is updated, our job list every Tuesday. So if you're looking to get hired on with Goodwill, stay posted, check every Tuesday for sure.
Yes.
Well, I think that's it. Yeah, thank you, Heather, for coming and tuning in with us today here for Chips and Chat. And we'll post it, so you're welcome to share it if you feel anyone needs to know about anything Goodwill.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you, Angelica.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Hey, bye, guys. Good to see you.